Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Who We Viewed, an unofficial Doctor Who watch along podcast. Today, we're discussing the final Sixth Doctor story and the final part of the trial of a Time Lord, the ultimate foe. But first, my name is Ben, and I'm here with my co-host Cam. How you doing today, Cam?
I'm doing good. There's gonna be some people in the comments that's gonna like correct you on that, saying, "Well, actually, the final Six Doctor Avenger was on Big Finish," and
The final televised.
you know how people are, Ben, especially Doctor Who fans. It's like you gotta make sure you cover all bases
Got to
here.
be specific.
like, I'm doing good. I am living life. I wouldn't say to the fullest, but I'm living life.
I know the feeling.
uh Yeah, there's nothing really new to say in my life of exciting news. What about yourself, Ben? How are you doing?
Uh, I'm doing fine. I mean, we recorded literally yesterday, so not much has changed. Except I listened to the second half of Led Zeppelin 4. Um,
Is it good? Did you enjoy?
it's pretty good, yeah. Uh, when the levee breaks and going to California, I really like. Good album. That's about it.
yeah, I did want to mention that shout out to Clever Dick Films. Um I don't know if you
Did he post
saw.
something?
He didn't post something, but like he kind of did. He posted the 12th Doctor retrospective review type of thing, but like it's behind his Patreon. Uh,
No.
so I did just it was only $2. So I was like, you know what? He has given me multiple hours of content. I will give him the $2. That $2 is worth the amount of time I've spent watching his stuff and rewatching it. So I decided to
How
throw him the
big of a
$2 and
video
watch it
is it?
early. 2 hours long. $2 for a 2 hour long video is not that bad.
Sure.
And as ever, he does such a great job. It makes me appreciate that era even more. And I'm really excited to rewatch it on the podcast when we get to it in like 2 years from now, because it's going to be an interesting era to talk about. I'm very interested to see
Ooh, yeah, I'll
your
be able
your
to listen to
opinions
the
on
second
it.
half of, his Colin Baker episode. I stopped, like,
Yeah,
halfway through because it was spoilers and of future episodes I hadn't seen yet.
but I'm very interested to see what you think of Capaldi's era, just because I think I was in that camp of a jaded teenager at that point, where I think some of those stories, I might like now that I didn't like at the time, just because I was 15, 16 years old and just thought everything was shit. So I'm excited to go from that lens, and I'm excited to see from your fresh lens to see what you think and see if you're one of those people that really loves that era, or if you're one of those people that just thinks it's okay. Very interested. As well as like to go back to Colin Baker, Capaldi kind of does have a similar thing to Colin Baker's Doctor, where he is a little bit more prickly.
Is he?
Yeah.
Does he strangle whoever he's with?
Sadly, he does not. I think
Sadly.
Stephen Moffat learned that he shouldn't do that from Eric Sayward. Eric Sayward did what Moffat could not.
Wow.
And of course, this is Eric Sayward's last episode of Doctor Who, but we'll talk about that.
Yes. This is a very production heavy
Oh yeah.
episode of just,
There's
like,
not many. I
a
don't
lot
think
of
this
stuff
might be
has
the
happened.
only episode that we're gonna cover on Hooby Ood when the writer of it dies halfway through production.
Yes. Let's just jump into it. The Ultimate Foe was broadcast November 29th through December 6th, 1986 on BBC One. This was written by a couple people. I don't know how clear cut this is.
So I'll tell you the behind the scenes
But
stuff. So behind the
yeah.
scenes, Rise. Robert Holmes writes the first episode, episode 13. The plan was for him to write the first four and the last two, which makes sense that you have like, all right, let's get our best writer to write the beginning and ending of this story. He dies halfway through production. At the same time, Eric Sayward and Robert Holmes are having a debate on there's something in this Robert Holmes script. I don't know if it's the cliffhanger for part 1 or if it's something else that's going to be in part 2 that Johnny the Turner does not like. It's too violent and is why he believes it's why the show was canceled. So he wants it cut. Eric Sayward is like, I want to have it be in like the artist's intent. I am the writer here.
According to the wiki, Eric Saber wanted to end it on a cliffhanger, leaving the battle between the Doctor and the Valeyard unresolved, and James T said no.
Yeah. But it was gonna be too violent. Was the main thing.
Yeah.
And also that it was also going to be basically disrupts Eric Saber's vision. So they have a falling out. Eric Saber's like, all right, I'm leaving. At the same time, you can't use what I'm writing for that second part as well as the Robert Holmes outline. So he calls Pip and Jane Baker, who wrote the previous story, Terror of the Rare Voids, and says, hey, I need you to read this script. I need you to come up with the second half of the script and have it to my desk by Friday. And we're gonna shoot it next week. And that's what happened.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Spoilers, but I can tell.
Yeah. But honestly, that second part, it's not the best second half of a Doctor Who story, but when you consider everything that was involved, it's a
Yeah.
miracle. It's one of those things where it's like when you know the behind the scenes things, it's a miracle that this story even happened to begin with.
Yeah. Didn't go the way of Shada. Um,
Ah, that would be awful that this whole Child of a Time Lord ends with Terror of the Rare Voids, and then at the same time, Colin Baker is fired to the next episode. Mid-trial, he, like, bumps his head and regenerates into Sylvester McCoy.
yeah, well, so we'll talk more about that. This was directed by Chris Clow, who just directed Terror of the Vervoids and will go on to direct a few more Seventh Doctor stories, produced by J&T.
And then this is the last, just like I was saying before, this is the last story for Eric Saber because
Yes.
they had that big filling out. Also, let's be honest, it kind of was his time. I don't think it was going to be right for him to continue on script editor. I think that his vision for the show has reached its end at Trial of a Time Lord. That it's like the show needs something new and something fresh at this point.
When did Eric Saban start?
Earthshock.
Urshock. That's right. Because he wrote the Visitation and it's like, okay, you're pretty good.
Yeah.
Be the
And then he
script
writes
editor.
Earthshock and it's like, you're really good. Here you go.
So it's been a bit.
Yeah.
Probably due for fresh blood.
Not probably. It's due.
Yeah,
Do you want more of this type of Doctor Who, Ben? Or do you want something new at this point?
I want something new. So Cam, what did you think of the Ultimate Foe?
I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, but like I think the first pilot's actually pretty good, all things considered. It is a Robert Holmes written episode, and you can tell that like the quality of the writing has improved since Terror of the Rare Voids. And it's like, okay, I'm interested in see where this is going. We got the big reveal that the Valeyard is somewhere between the last and the 12th and final regeneration, which of course doesn't really mean anything nowadays. Um, and then uh, and then we go into the Matrix, and the Matrix stuff is fun. But then, of course, the, the Pip and Jane Baker come in. They have to salvage this script, and the second half, it's like it's fine. It's not like the worst thing in the world, but it's very like it's a lot. You know, there's a lot of ideas there where it's like it's very convoluted where it's not confusing, but it's just there's a lot of things going on, and then like you could have cut so much from this and just made it be like it needed to be a little bit more simple. Cause like, and then like when we get to the whole bombs, like it all revolves around like the doctor has to dearm this bomb. It's like, is this really how we're gonna end this?
Mm,
And then the master comes for some reason. It's like, what did you think of it, Ben?
I pretty much agree. It's kind of frustrating because there's stuff here that really works for me. Like the Matrix stuff in the first part,
Yeah.
where like he's in this dark Victorian town with children's voice, just super great stuff. And the trial stuff is great. Robin
But
Holmes
I would
dialogue,
also say
just
before we move on from that, it's just like I love like the characters also they meet in the Matrix in like the Victorian setting.
yeah.
Of like that stuff is
It's
also great.
taken some of my favorite parts of a Deadly Assassin, and we're getting more of that.
Yeah.
That like surreal imagery. Um, and then there's also stuff that just does not work, like Popelwick. Like the last like 5 minutes of part two is just like it's all about the procedure, and it's just
Yeah.
like I do not care for Popelwick, and the fact that Popelwick was the Valeyard the whole time
But like it works in the
doesn't.
first pot. It works in the first pot. It's the second pot where it
Yeah,
falls apart.
it. I wasn't exactly sure like if there was overlaps because like I like the bit with the Valeyard at the beginning of the second part,
Yes, that
but I
is
don't
very
like the
good.
Popelwick stuff at the end of the first part.
No.
So I wasn't sure if it was more nebulous. So some really great stuff and some really not great stuff.
Yeah.
And if Robert Holmes didn't tragically pass, I think we could have had something really great.
Oh yeah.
All the elements were there.
As well as if we could have got the second half of the story of his outline
Yeah,
and
that's
some of
kind
the
of
stuff that he maybe
frustrating.
wrote.
And Eric Sayward, if could have pulled it off, I think he could have wrapped it up better than
Yeah, he's much more similar to Robert Holmes than
at
Pippin
least
Jane
just
Baker.
vibe wise. Yeah,
Pippin Jane Baker is not writing like Kaiser and Rajani, right?
no, I guess I like it at the end of the day, but it could have been so much more.
Yeah. It's not a really satisfying conclusion to Trial of a Time Lord.
Having the whole thing being the Valeyard was trying to blow up the High Council with a bomb. That was everything building up to that. Whatever, man. I guess, sure.
It's so just like it's very that's definitely a Pippin Jane Baker thing of just like it's just like why? Could it just not been the doctor just hates himself and just that's just his hatred for himself just putting himself on trial? Like that would have been so much interesting,
The
but then
Valeyard as a concept, really
yeah.
great and interesting. So
Like there's a
many
reason why
implications.
after all these years people still want the Valeyard to come back.
I mean, he's gotta, right? I wasn't exactly certain if, like, is he, like, number 20 because the 13 doesn't matter anymore, and one of his incarnations, he will just regenerate into the Valeyard at some point?
Yeah.
Or is this like a separate, like, entity, like a clone, or like somehow he's a byproduct? Um,
I'm thinking
could
it's
be
more
by generation. I don't know
I
because he
think it's
seems
more
to
like
be
a
a separate
byproduct.
entity,
Yeah. I think it's
but
more
that
of a
is also still the
byproduct
Doctor.
of just like, yeah, it's similar, but it's not the actual doctor himself. It's just the physical manifestation of the evil parts of the
Yeah,
doctor.
because otherwise,
Um,
wouldn't stealing Colin's future regenerations jeopardize his own existence?
and also like there was one part that really aggravated me about that where it's just like the doctor when he's DMing the bomb is like, well, if you would do it, I should be able to do it. I'm like, yeah, but this is from like the 12th and final regenerations. Like that's hundreds and thousands of years. Like, he could have done something that you just don't know, doctor, so why are you saying that line?
Yeah, such a missed opportunity. I do hope the Valeyard comes back though. But yeah, the part 14, part 2, whatever you want to call it, I
Yeah.
feel like boils down this amazing concept Robert Holmes came up with just to an evil guy who wants to blow up the High Council because he's evil.
Yeah. And you could imagine a version of that part too, where it's like it is still keeps that surreal elements, and they are fighting on the Matrix, and we don't get it just like it's the bomb ending. It's more just like it's more that the Doctor defeats him in the Matrix, and then because he defeats him in the Matrix, and the Matrix reveals that all the things that was a lie, and then he's no longer on trial, and it's that he he leaves. That's all the story needed to be. But instead, they're like, what about there's the bomb, and also there's this B plot with the Master that so does not need to be there.
I like the idea, in theory, of the Master, when it happens a couple times, the Master teaming up with a Doctor for an even greater foe, like
Yeah,
Barusa or stuff like having Sherlock Holmes and Moriarty team up is just cool. But what ends up happening is just the Master's just on a Zoom call, and then also he orders glitz a bit, and nothing. He doesn't really have much of an impact other than uh, exposition. So in again, it's another thing. In theory, if this was expanded on, it continued, that could have been really cool, but nothing really comes of it. That's kind of the thesis of this.
yeah. But also, it's kind of one of those stories where it's just kind of doomed to fail at the end of the day because it is a two-part story trying to resolve this arc, which doesn't really have that much of a story throughout. So it has to be this big payoff, and it only has two parts to do it. This and should have probably been three or four parts, to be honest.
Yeah, you could have cut Terror of the Varivoids down to 3 easy. With the reduced episode count, I suppose your options are limited at this
Yeah,
point. We're down to just 14. He does get the part 2 is extra long.
yeah,
It's 30 minutes instead of 25. Interesting that in part 1, Glitz is, I wouldn't call him a companion, but he's like the guy who follows the Doctor around.
yeah.
And then he fucks off with the Master in part 2, and now Mel's here. I mean, Mel was there in part 1, but she didn't really do anything. I wonder, is Mel a Pippin Jane original? Did they create her?
I don't think so. I think that would probably be more Alex Saber that's creating her and guiding her creation.
She's here. What do you think of the continuing adventures of Mel?
She's fine. I don't hate Mel. She doesn't scream, I don't think, at all this episode. So that's something.
I have about the same level of attachment as I did at the end of Terror of the Varivoids, where she's here, she's fine.
She's a stock
She
companion.
self-describes herself as boring, and I mean, yeah,
I'm not gonna fight you.
I'm not gonna fight you.
There is a moment that I think was kind of interesting when the doctor is inside the Matrix and the Mel inside the Matrix is on trial against the doctor and lies. But then also says at the same time that she knows about that the doctor is put up for genocide of the Revoids. And then the doctor and Mel meet later on, and then he tells her that, like, well, Mel, I know that you wouldn't know that information. I thought that was kind of interesting because I did also at that exact moment I was thinking to myself, how the fuck does Mel know about them being on trial for genocide? She wasn't there for that bit. So I was like, okay, thank you, Pip and Jane, for at least knowing that. But all that stuff is where I'm like, this is so convoluted. This does not have to be this like crazy.
Yeah,
Like and again with the master, I wish it was just I wish the master in the story was just kept to that little bit where he's on the TV and just interrupts the trial for a bit and then he fucks off.
I think it's funny when he tries to hypnotize Glitz and it just doesn't work at all.
Yeah, that was funny. But yeah, it's a really mixed bag. But the Matrix, some of the Matrix stuff is really good. And Pip and Jane Baker still don't really know how to write a Doctor Who script. That's the end of the day with Ultimate Foe. So bad
Yeah.
cliffhanger though. Is there anything else to talk about with Ultimate Foe? It's part of the problem is that like it is such a short story to talk about, but like and it is so convoluted, but also at the same time it is so simple.
What do you think of his last words being carrot juice?
Well, no, it's not carrot juice. It's carrot juice, carrot juice, carrot juice.
Yes.
It's 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 kind of funny that that's how Colin Baker goes out. He is good at that. He is good at playing like the annoyed carrot juice. She's like
Yeah.
throwing them with the exercise bike. It's like, oh god.
Mel seems to take this whole thing in stride, I feel like. She's, like, really unfazed by being taken out of time and the Gallifreyans, and, well, I guess I'm going with this you and not the you I was with.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm still confused about like where is like are we supposed to are we supposed to believe that this leads into rear voids?
I think no, Vervoids is, like, the far future. At the end of Vervoids, she
But
gets
that's the five
taken
future. So how
back.
much is you to talk about carrot juice with the Sixth Doctor?
I mean, for her, she was just talking about carrot juice, and now Mel, I think,
Because
is
she
the one that's
expands fear voids. So yeah, so like again, this is
it's
where
just fucked.
this is
That is
again,
just
this
fucked.
story is very convoluted for no fucking reason.
Yes. Well, I guess we can start doing the things.
The bits.
Special effects?
Special effects. Best special effect is when they reuse the special effect of like the opening shot, but instead it's like those two capsules that Mel
I mean, yeah,
and Glitz
but
are on.
I guess, yeah.
But again, then also like I do like the cliffhanger of like the hands coming out of the bed and then like then Colin going out of bed. I like that.
I don't think it looked good.
And
What
then like
about
I
when he comes
the
out and it's like reversed footage of him rising and mouthing backwards?
yeah.
Bad joke.
I do also I do like that little bit. Like I think they do a good job of like the when the Valeyard is just jumping back and forth in that conversation. That stuff is all great.
Yeah, it was not perfect, but pretty close to seamless.
Yeah.
It was effective. For every time I see like like the DVD box and like on Letterbox and the limited amount of photos, there's always emphasis on the hands in the barrel,
Yeah.
but that's like one little bit that isn't really a big part of it. I thought it would be a bigger part.
Yeah. So yeah, then worst special effect, the bomb, the just the I just hate the bomb in general. Like it's not even a special. It's not even the special effect is bad. It's just I just don't like the idea of the bomb. So I'm gonna say this bad special effect is
Yeah.
the bomb.
I didn't like I looked this up and I think this happened the last Master story. His TARDIS is really boring
yeah.
because it's just they painted it black and they just took the same console prop. It's not even a black console.
Yeah.
It looks really unimpressive. I miss the TARDIS room from of all things. Remember the Master's TARDIS in Colony in Space? That uh Joe gets like trapped in a tube.
yeah. How to make this story better? Not have Robert Holmes die halfway through production. like,
That probably is the best case scenario. They should do a lost story of Eric Sayward's version
yeah,
because that probably he has Robert Holmes notes. That was probably closer. Yeah, needs to be no bomb. Tighten it
no
up.
bomb. It should have
Less.
just been the doctor. It should have been the Doctor versus Valiant in the Matrix for 20 minutes
Yeah,
and have 5 minute wrap up.
he should have had the wrestling like Deadly Assassin.
Yeah.
That honestly would have been better. Now that I say that jokingly,
Uh,
they're just grappling, trying to drown each other.
but you could have had so much fun of just going different locations and different things and weird shit happening, just like in Deadly Assassin. But instead, it's like, no, we gotta worry about this bomb, and then we have to worry about the master, and like, just cut the master out of that second half, and like, honestly, get rid of Glitz pretty quickly in that second pot, and just get him out of the Matrix, just so have it be the Doctor and Valiant.
Yeah. Well, cliffhangers?
Yes, cliffhangers.
I mean, the end of the last part is kind of a cliffhanger. Kind of.
Yeah.
I'll mention it.
Okay.
So the first one, the doctor is being pulled into the muck by many hands, and he screams, "No!" And then maybe you disagree, but two, The Valeyard survived and is impersonating the keeper of the Matrix.
Dun dun dun, as well as catches.
Carrot juice, carrot juice, carrot juice. So, Cam, how would you rate The Ultimate Foe?
Even though it's not the best, I think it is the best of the season, which isn't saying much.
Better than Mind Warp?
Yeah. I'm going to go 7.5. Might be a
There's
little bit
bits
too
where
high.
this is a 9, and there's bits where this is like a 5.
Yeah. Which is why I'm giving it 7.5. It's in the middle.
I'm gonna give it a 7.3 for an average rating of 7.4. Let me do some math real quick to see average rating
Math.
for this season. All right. So season 23, aka The Trial of a Time Lord. You gave it an average rating of 6.55 and I
Mhm.
gave it an average rating of 6.425 with an average between us of 6.49, which puts us as worse than season 22. Do you agree with that?
Yeah. I think as a whole, because it doesn't have, at least the previous season had, I like Attack of the Cybermen. Vengeance and Rest, I really love, and then I really like Revelation of the Daleks. I don't like any of the stories as good as at least Mark of the Rani or Revelation of the Daleks this season.
I guess the first question, talking about the season as a whole, is is this one story or is this four stories?
It's 4 stories, man. We've been discussing this whole time. It's no does make no sense why Doctor Magazine considers it one story. It's very is much 4 different stories.
It's more interconnected than I was expecting going in. Like, this is much more closely connected, like stories stringing into each other than, say, The Key to Time. I think it succeeds as an arc better than The Key to Time did.
But also, like, if we're really gonna consider this a season, they really should consider Keys of Time a whole season, you know? It's similar.
I think having the framing story is what could I'm not saying I do, it is
Yeah.
definitely 4 stories, but having this framing story of the trial room that we keep cutting back to, um, makes it be more connected than this is just a series of adventures of the Doctor.
Yeah.
So, and this was you hadn't seen any of these stories previously?
No, I've not, just because it was always that thing of just like, I knew that it did interlock, so I knew I had to watch all of them. I also
Yes.
knew that none of them were as, like, highly regarded, so I never really watched it until now, and I gotta say, like, it wasn't like, I don't feel like it was something I was really missing, you know? Like, I always was curious about the Valeyard, but, like we just mentioned, it's like the Valeyard was never really used to its full potential, which is why I think all the fandom, not I think I said all the fandom, but I think that's why some of the fandom is so intrigued about the possibility of more Valeyard, just because there is potential there for more stories, especially now that the Doctor has gotten more darker and the new series. It's like, okay, where does the Valeyard fit in there?
Maybe Billy Piper is the Valeyard.
Oh my god, you cracked it.
I cracked it. That's it.
I don't know why the Valeyard is smiling right when they regenerate, but
Hopefully in 7 it'll be, like, 5 months maybe at this point when this comes out. Hopefully, we'll find out.
There's still a bit of in the back of my brain that's like, I don't even know if this Christmas special is happening, Ben. We have heard nothing about it.
How much of a gap of knowledge for Joy to the World was there, as an example? Like, that came out Christmas. Did we have screenshots in September, or
No,
was
but
it
we had
last minute?
they shot it way in advance, so we had like a picture of them filming it like a year beforehand.
So, yeah, and who knows if they've even started filming.
We know they haven't started filming. There's some people that's like they also are all inside. And it's like that's cope. That's cope, you know?
Maybe it's just Mel and Billy in the TARDIS.
No, but see, that's the problem is that, like, Billie Piper is gonna be on Wednesday, season 3, in the fall, so it's like, I don't know when they're gonna be shooting this show. And I don't know if you know this, CGI takes more than, like, 2 months to do. Unless, like you said, it's all gonna be in the TARDIS, and it's gonna be like a CGI light episode. It's gonna be sad when they have to tear down that beautiful TARDIS set now that it's not gonna be longer with Bad Wolf, I am assuming.
You're a big fan of the 1415 TARDIS?
It's I have I'm mixed on it. I like it more than Jodie's. I hated Jodie's. Like, I like it more that it actually looks like a console instead of, like, whatever crystal thing they were thinking of with Jodie's. That was just horrendous. Um, my big problem with it, though, is that it's not 360, and I like even though the scale-wise, it's better that they can do the crane shots, but the crane shots also make it look smaller. So it's like the room feels grander and bigger when they do have a title set that's 360 that they could shoot in any direction, that it feels like an actual space instead of
Oh, is it like
if
an
they
open
always have to
wall
shoot it. Yeah,
situation?
because they have to because it's so tall, you have to, like, use a crane to shoot up, like, big shots of it. But again, like, that's the problem with sometimes with production is, like, sometimes when you make something so big on TV, it feels smaller. I think that taught it. The 1415 taught us is a good example of that.
But that's getting ahead of ourselves. Are you itching to stick the season 23 Blu-ray back in? Or is it
No,
gonna
no, I'm
be
not.
many years?
This is gonna be many years. It's gonna collect a lot of dust. I don't think there's a single episode here that I'm gonna revisit anytime soon.
Such a shame.
Will you?
Probably not. It's a
Like,
shame that Colin Baker doesn't go out with a bang.
yeah,
Um, we'll talk more about Colin Baker as a whole. Let's save it for the retrospective.
yes, which will be in 2 weeks from now. So look forward to
Yes.
that, dear listener over here.
So next week we're going to be talking about the Holy Terror Big
Yes,
Finish story.
the Holy Terror. Let's go. Frobisher the flying yeah, Frobisher the talking penguin. How excited are you for Frobisher the talking penguin?
I am hyped. A big problem with this era is we don't have any great companions, and I'm hoping Frobisher is a great companion.
Yeah.
But we'll talk about that more in the retrospective. But join us
Yes,
next week for that, and join us 2 weeks from now for the retrospective.
and then join us 3 weeks from now
For Time in the
for
Ronnie.
Sylvester McCoy.
Oh boy.
The Scottish are coming, Ben. The Scottish are coming.
Oh no.
Why no? Why oh no, Ben? Why is it a bad thing?
You never know what could happen.
But the Scottish. Join us next week for more Doctor Who. Peace out, everyone.
Have a wonderful rest of your day.